Learn how to go from unknown to well known so you can be seen as an expert, establish trust and authority, set yourself apart from your competitors, and get paid more for your expertise. I'm Priya Florence Shah, award winning publisher, author, podcaster, and online branding consultant. In this channel, you learn how to create a personal brand that outlasts the next social media or search engine algorithm update. Sign up for my free personal branding course at blogbrandz.in.
Can you like at least get
Okay. Today I'm interviewing Jyoti Mundra. She's the founder and CEO of onahealthynote.com. She's a postgraduate in business administration from the International Management Institute of Delhi and an avid adventure junkie, nature lover, and now a spiritual entrepreneur. So in 2011, she opted out of a consulting career to start her venture on a healthy note that promises conscious consumption and chemical-free living by connecting like-minded brands with customers across the world. On a Healthy Note is a bootstrap venture that a collection of truly natural, authentic, and effective products to empower people with the choices to heal bodies, minds, and the world. That's a very interesting description of your brand, Jyoti. Uh,
thank
so
you so much, Priya.
you have a kind of a story, the behind your brand, right? You said that you told me
Yes,
that
I do.
it's about your
Yeah.
skin condition, and that's why you went
Yeah,
into this.
yeah,
So can you just tell us
yeah.
how you got started and why? What was the
Okay,
reason?
so while I was growing, I was always a kind of a weak child, a diseased child, and around 7 or 8 years of age, around that age, I developed some inflammation on the skin, which my mom took me to like dozens of doctors and homeopath and all kinds of doctors. Basically, it didn't really go. They gave me all kinds of medicines and ointments, and it was a very mild thing. It wasn't really anything like really extraordinary or anything, but it still didn't go.
Hmm.
The point is, I ended up taking not just multivitamins off the shelves, but many other things as well, like steroids and stuff like that.
Oh dear.
And it would always go and come back. So it
Yeah.
had become a kind of like a bone of contention for me as I was growing up, and it obviously also affected my confidence a lot. Because
Yeah.
as a girl, if you have inflammation on your skin, it just boils down to your confidence at the end of the day.
Right.
uh, I tried, and that is what I think it was one of the push factors for me to kind of start looking for alternatives to figure out what is it that's not healing on its own, and why the best of doctors are not being able to heal it.
Right.
And that is when on one of these, I would try different kinds of healing things and different kind of alternatives, and then I came across coconut oil. So that was actually my first foray into anything natural, because coconut oil, we know of parachute, right?
Right.
That's synonymous with coconut oil for most Indians.
Yeah.
But I'm talking of organic, virgin, cold pressed coconut oil, which is at that time, which is about 10 years, maybe 9 years back, it wasn't available in India. Like, people hadn't even heard of it. Most of the people,
Right.
99% of the people hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah.
And the few people who did know weren't even in my vicinity. I
Right.
could only find these things out from the net, because I was Googling and I was reading up a lot in health and wellness and stuff like that, and detoxing and stuff like that. And that is when I tried looking for this particular product. Couldn't find it anywhere, and that is when I found this one supplier in Kerala who is basically an exporter, and it didn't even have like a labeled retail container for Indian market.
Yeah.
So I requested him, and he sent me, like, in a pearl pet, those Bisleri bottles. He sent me one in that pearl pet bottle, like a liter, in a wooden jar, in a wooden container, in a
Right.
wooden packaging, because he didn't have anything better.
Okay.
And I started using it, and within like 5 days, 3 days, my it started to subside. The inflammation started to subside, and by the end of a month, it was gone. Like, it was completely gone. It didn't even like the skin had healed. And it would come back when I had exposure to sun, but if when I continued applying it, it hasn't come back after that. It hasn't
Right.
come back at all after that.
Wow.
So this was such a huge moment for me. And it obviously ticked my interest. Like I was trying to figure out so many things, and here this just one coconut oil kind of changed this thing for me. I couldn't. It was a really big thing for me, and that is when I started looking for other things that I could find, in India, in shops near me, and but I couldn't really find other things, and this was actually the start of the journey into natural and organic and healthy stuff, because it really gave me that that motivation to kind of go out there and put these products out to people, to empower them just the way I felt empowered at the end of it.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So you could basically take back your, the control over your health, by using all these products, using these
totally,
natural products.
totally,
Yeah, otherwise
totally.
all the stuff we were using earlier was chemical based and probably aggravating your
Yeah,
skin, probably
not
aggravating your
just
skin.
not just chemical, but your regular conventional items, we do not even put the label on of chemicals on them, right? I mean,
Yeah, right.
we use our face wash and our deos and our shampoos, and even things like I said, our lip balms and body lotions. And this is just one aspect of the skincare. There is just so much in our houses, from the kitchen to the home based repellents, like the mosquito repellents, to the sanitizers, to every goddamn thing, to even the detergent in the laundry. And it's not just about, it's obviously it starts with us, because if I start telling people that, oh, it will save Mother Earth if you do this, they'll be like, please. They don't really want to listen to that, most of the people. But the best part is that these products are not just good for your skin, but they're great for Mother Earth also, because
Yeah,
it's like a sustainable circle. It just, what it does is it basically, it gives you an alternative, it gives you an option B, and
yeah,
that is an option that one has to choose out of one's own will. You
right.
cannot force anybody. So yeah, this is what it did for me. After that, I just started, like making better choices with everything that I used.
Yeah,
And I think it's showing up. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. In a
yeah.
lot of ways, my sinus, like I said, I was always a very weak child. So my sinus has healed by 80%. I mean, there's just so much that I can talk about when I start on it.
So that's great.
My allergic rhinitis has gone. My allergic rhinitis, I won't say it has gone completely, but it is like, I mean, I used to sneeze so much, but it has gone down to maybe 10 to 20%, maybe one or two odd incidents in the year, you know.
Right, right, right. Just because you started using natural products and organic and all
Yeah,
these
I
things.
just
Yeah,
started making better choices. That's how I
yeah.
would put it.
Right, right, right. And of course you did your research, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't have found out about all these the benefits of all
Yeah,
these
absolutely.
products, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I read up, like, you could say I'm half a nutritionist because I read up so much. I spent, like, once I started reading up on it, I just couldn't stop. And that is when I realized that this is where my interest lies. And that is when I also realized that this is probably what I would love to do. I mean, more, I mean, this is a sort of a passion. It's become a sort of a passion now, to
Yeah,
scout for these products and to, get the best products out there. And it's more than just for me, because I have enough of these for myself, right? The whole idea is to actually, for these products to go out to people, and for them to realize what a difference it makes in the quality of their lives and the lives of
yeah.
their loved ones.
Right,
Like,
right.
the funny part is, I see moms buying the best of stuff for their kids, but not for themselves, not realizing that, it's in just a few years back, there was this study that said that, most of the newborns that are born have more than 86 chemicals or something flowing in their blood
Extreme,
these days.
yeah. Because the
Yeah,
mothers are using all
because
those
the mothers are
chemicals.
already using,
Yeah,
it's already there. It's just not a one day thing.
yeah.
Most people, what they do is they probably buy a bottle of shampoo, like a natural sulfate free shampoo, or one face wash, and they're like, I'm done. They think that's that. It's a good start. I would say it's a great start, and it's a great way to begin your health, like your wellness journey, your journey towards nature. But it's an ongoing thing. You cannot just be stopping at one thing and saying that, yeah, I'm done with it.
You have to
That's
be
because
consistent. Yeah,
the consumption is from everywhere. The onslaught of chemicals is from everywhere. We
yeah.
cannot really do anything much about the water and the air, and but there are certain things that are in our control. And that
Yes.
is where I feel we have the power and the choice and the option to empower ourselves and to lead better lives, to lead more
Right.
high quality lives.
Right, that's great. And tell us a little bit about your venture. How you started it and what you're doing
So
with it.
yeah, this was, as like I said, this was one of the major factors pushing me towards, figuring out more of my priorities and where my passion lay. And I realized that there are so many of these other products that people don't know about and that need to go out to people.
Mhm.
So like I said, it became a sort of a passion to scout out for such products. I would get so happy talking to suppliers and figuring out. And I did not want to get into, you know like, I didn't even think of it this way, that it would start as a venture.
Right.
For me, it was more important to kind of do it for myself first. And I realized that there are so many of these small ventures scattered around India, where people are making stuff with their hand in small batches. And and it's not just about the handmade stuff, it's about creating the right stuff. It's about that passion that's there, that comes with it. Like most
Mhm.
people who are in this field, in the organic or in the natural field, they would know what I'm talking about, because it just doesn't happen on its own. It has to
Mm.
happen because of the passion that you feel for it.
Yeah, right.
So that's the one thing I see consistently in all the entrepreneurs or the companies or the founders of companies that I work with. They're also passionate about what they do. They all are out to change the world one day at a time.
Yeah, that's great.
And yeah, and that's how they feel about their products. They're like, please try it, it's really good. And that's how I go up. I most of the times when I'm trying to talk to people, telling them to use a particular product, I'm as excited. I'm like, please try this, please, it'll do you good, please try it. So
But
yeah.
that's a great way to sell because you're selling through your passion and you're selling. I mean, you're telling them that this is you're actually recommending stuff that is going to benefit them, not just for your
Yeah,
own.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
just not
so
just
yeah,
for.
on our website, what we have, we have a very selective and, like, I would say, a rigid protocol before we add up any product or brand, so to say. We do not add anything which is just handmade or just organic. We ask, suppose if, so we have these different values associated, and we want to make sure that people or our brands are adhering to that. So of course the paraben free and sulfate free stuff is obviously the thing that goes in, but
Yeah,
it's not just about being paraben free and sulfate free. Like, that's what, 4 years back, 5 years back, people didn't even know about organic, or I would say organic was just growing in the Indian market. It was nascent. And we came to a phase where people started to know that organic is something good. Thanks to the big brands and the big media, people started to know that, yeah, organic is something good. They need to, it's about chemical free and this and that, and people started to at least get some interest out of the entire thing. And then they started to realize, 2 years back, now we have like hundreds of brands coming up every day, literally,
yeah, that's
skincare
true.
brands and like health and wellness brands and supplement brands coming up every second day in India and across the world, of course, which claim their way to natural health and all of that. So, like I said, when BPA free plastic bottles stopped, what they said BPA free, but they had BPA-B, which was even worse. So
Okay.
it's the same with natural skin industry or the natural wellness industry. Just because some products say that they're paraben free and sulfate free, doesn't really mean that they're all good even then, because there are other things, other chemicals added to it which we don't know about, which most people
Yeah,
don't know about.
yeah,
And because we fail to read the ingredient list or do our research, obviously, because not everybody has the interest or the will or the means to find out so much more. So I see that there are so many other brands that are coming up, but a lot of them, some of them are really good and really genuine and authentic, and a lot of them still have a lot of chemicals hidden underneath this entire, uh, I would say the word mastery. So yeah, so our entire thing before we on board with any brand is that we actually go really deep into it. We really go, we do our research, we verify every ingredient through. There are these documented chemicals and safety research reports and all that. So I like to actually, now that, of course, now I'm slightly better placed because I know a lot of them already, but I actually used to read up every one of these ingredients and make sure that even today we do that. we like to take up, we tell them upfront that you have to give us your complete ingredient list.
Right.
And once they give, so there's an MOU that's signed, and they have to give us the complete ingredient list. And in in that ingredient list, we look at the preservatives they've used, or the emulsifiers they've used, or the, these are the places where chemicals come in, or
Yes.
the
Yes.
the lathering agents and stuff like that. And
Mm.
that is when we see, because each day new preservatives are coming, new lathering agents are coming. So doing that research is very important for us to be on top of what we are doing. And that is
Right.
where I think we are different, because I actually like to tell, like, I mean, that is something I'm really proud about, that on a healthynote.com is one of India, I would say it's India's only authentic natural store right now. I see other websites and I see other stores. I see that there are so many brands that are just, yeah, of course, some of them are natural, but a lot of them have a lot of things that, they wouldn't really know about because nobody is researching on them.
Yeah, right. And there's no requirement for disclosure also, like, of a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
products. People
The
don't need.
complete ingredient
Yeah,
list doesn't
yeah,
have to be disclosed in India. It
yeah.
just says key ingredients. So
Right.
the bases could have different preservatives which no one would even talk about or probably know about.
Yeah, right, right. So that it's a great thing that you all are doing so much research, because the research is what makes you different, right? The research is what
Yeah,
gives you
I
the
would say that.
edge. It gives you all the
I would like
edge.
to think so. Yeah,
Yeah, when it comes to choosing the products that are right for your store. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
great. So what are you doing? How are you doing? How are you building your your brand and your kind of your visibility?
So
What which
right now
activities are you
we're
doing?
we're really small right now. Honestly, we need more people to know that we're coming from a place of authenticity.
Right.
We are trying to get the word out there. So, of course, offline I'm not doing much. Honestly, I'm not getting going into these exhibitions and all that, which a lot of people tell me to. I still haven't been able to do that because there's just so much work. But online, we go to these. We are doing Google ads, a bit of Google ads, a bit of social media ads. We do social media creatives. Soon going to start some newsletters. That's about it right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good start. That's a really good start when it comes to building up your
But yeah,
brand.
we need to do a lot more going forward. We need to
I'm
do a
sure.
lot more for people to know about this in the first place, because most
Yeah,
people don't even know about it. And
right.
if they know about it, we have some great stats. We have people on our website. When they come in, they our average stay on the website, visitors stay for about 1.5 to 2 minutes, which they say is apparently really good. But I don't know, I mean, I think I still feel that a lot more needs to be done. We haven't even scratched the surfaces yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is a lot that you can do. Are you planning to
Yeah.
go in for funding or something, or you're a completely
Oh
bootstrap?
yeah.
You said, yeah, you have
Right
to.
now we're completely bootstrapped, but
Yeah,
eventually, yes,
you will have
funding will
to.
have to come in. Yeah,
Yeah, because you
because
can't grow otherwise.
this entire industry thrives on huge investments, and it's
Yes,
not just for the sake of it. It's also because a lot goes in the ads and promotions and stuff like that. And we have some really really exciting products, and we have so many of these exciting products that for the word to go out, you have to do ads, you have to do some sort of publicity
of
marketing.
course
And
you
it's not
do.
just about the ads, it's also about when the funding comes in, I'm just not looking for the money to pool in the ads, but we're also trying to build some value out here. We want to
Right.
actually engage in with the audiences. And that's what I was telling you just before this, right? I mean, we soon want to start our own videos and podcasts where we want to invite people, and we want to build a culture around wellness. We want to build, and on a healthy note.com should be like the second name for people when they think of holistic health. We just don't
Yes.
want to be getting into food or skin we want to be talking about holistic health. We want to be talking about health in its entirety, because health is not just physical. Actually, a lot of it is emotional and
Actually,
mental and
yes.
spiritual. So we want people to be making these we want like making these choices and making these like we want people to know about this basically. So
Yes,
a
of
lot of
course.
engagement has to come in through our own this thing. So
Yeah.
videos and all going forward, yes, all of this requires funding.
It does. It does. I mean, and there are certain things you can do bootstrap, but I mean, when you want to grow and scale, you do require some funding to come in. Because
True.
advertising is expensive and all that stuff.
It
But there are
is.
certain things, like for instance, you were saying you want to become like the holistic health, the brand that you want to brand yourself as a holistic health portal, right?
True.
And
Yeah.
so that is one way to go, because of course there are lots of holistic health portals out there. You probably have to find some way to differentiate yourself and distinguish
Totally.
yourself from the others. That
So
would be
most
the
of the
first way to
holistic,
think. Yeah.
yeah. So I say I would think most of the holistic health portals that we know of are really only into content building, and we want to put our money where our mouth is, and even
Mm-hmm.
talk about certain products because,
Right.
like, okay, I don't want to be giving out names, but there's this one particular, like, people, we want to be encouraging people to read the ingredient lists and the labels and to
Right.
teach them how to do that.
Right.
And then they'll know that what I'm talking about is not just out of hearsay or just because I'm in this business, but it's actually because I'm putting my money where my mouth is,
Mm-hmm.
because we're actually dealing with brands that are we've that have been researched and verified and that are actually good for you, and we
Yeah.
are presenting to you not just one but quite a few of these choices, and then
Right.
you're free to decide what works for you and what doesn't.
Yes, of course. And I think all these products, see, each and every product that you offer, they all come with a backstory, right? There's about the person
They
who's
do, all
making
of
it.
them brand,
So
yeah,
so
most of the
that's
brands, yes.
that's one way to showcase them, tell the backstory of the person who's making the product and
Yeah,
who's creating the
that's
product. You
true.
can make a video about them, about how it's made, how yeah, because those kind of videos people love. They love to know the
Yeah,
story
yeah,
behind the product, right? That is they're
right,
buying, so they
right,
can
right.
relate to it, and they can
So yeah, what? Yeah,
creates an
absolutely.
emotional
I mean, I love that
connect.
idea. Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
thinking about it because there are a lot of these brands are also, like small NGOs started by passionate ladies and or passionate people basically, or like some venture tucked in the middle of the mountains or something like that. So there are these artisans and weavers and women NGOs and I mean, lot of these things. So there are companies who are actually doing this for like on a commercial basis, and there are people who are doing it on for their passion, and there are these NGOs who are doing it to help people.
Yeah.
Lots of stories like this. Yes.
Yeah. So these are the stories that you can showcase actually on your podcast and on
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
brand channel,
We plan to do
So
that.
yeah, that
Yeah.
would be a great way to go about it, because people love stories, right? And the
Yeah.
stories, they create emotions. I mean, they create the emotion that you
Totally.
you know want to you want them to
Totally.
associate with your brand. So I think that's one way you could do that. I mean, that's just a bit of
Totally.
a bit of just a
No,
tip
it's a
from me.
great thing. I hope I can pull it off because I've been wanting to do it. It's just that out of, yeah, uh, the whole commercial thing of how to do that on a viable way in a viable way is one, and the second thing is obviously because we're too small, we're too tiny, so we didn't even really get to that level right now, and we're planning to do that
Right.
going forward. So this year is going to be very crucial. We have a lot of plans for all this. The whole idea is on a healthynote.com actually wants to provide that value to people for them to connect with us, for them to want to be connected with us. So we actually want to be giving out that value to people, not just in terms of stories of their suppliers or the companies they're buying from, but even in terms of, like I said, holistic health, even in terms of disparaging the myths and breaking down stuff for them to easily understand, and
Mhm.
telling them what is and what is not, what is good and what is not,
Yeah.
telling them to eat this and not that, and trying to basically decode this entire thing for them as much as we can.
Right, right, right. There's a lot you can do in that. I mean, I can think of a whole
Yeah.
bunch of things. We'll probably talk about it after the call. But
Oh, would love
but
to.
but yeah, that's a great way to go. And I wish you a lot of I wish you great success with that. And maybe we can talk
Thank you
about it
so
later
much.
on and see
Yeah,
how you can do that. So and I love to showcase women entrepreneurs on our podcast, because
I'm
I can see
really,
women.
really, I
Yeah.
feel really blessed to be here.
I mean, I see women making so much, doing so much, making such a big difference, and they're not all doing it for just the money. They are doing it for passion. They're doing it because they want to
Yeah,
they want to change the
yeah,
world and all
yeah.
that. It's not
Yeah,
not just about the money, so I really love
it is
showcasing
not.
women entrepreneurs on my podcast, on my website. So I'm happy to have met
That's
you,
great.
and I'm
Thank you
happy to
so
showcase
much.
your
Yes, so
stuff.
lovely. It's been like it's humbling, honestly. This is actually my
Right.
first real interview, so to say.
Oh, cool. That's great. That's great. So okay. So I'll do one thing. I'll just stop the recording. Okay, one.
If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to my channel and sign up for my free personal branding course at blogbrands.in. Download my free Creating Brand New ebook on Amazon Kindle.